Hello everyone, my name is George Morgan and I'm the writer and director of the animated short film, The Red Bull. I've recorded a series of chats with my very talented collaborators on The Red Bull to do two things. One, to promote the release of The Red Bull on YouTube, and secondly, to provide some value for those watching and for those who are interested behind the scenes. I'm joined by the extremely talented and wonderful animation director, Claire Winter. Hi, Claire, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you,
Oh,
George?
yeah, doing really well, doing really well. Obviously, it's been a while since we last had a chat with the whole festival circuit, so it's really good to
Mm.
see you and catch up with you about the project.
Yeah, good to see you. And it's done so well in the festival circuit. It's amazing.
100%. So proud of the team.
Mm.
It'll be great to kind of go through some questions in terms of letting those who are watching about the process and letting them know about how you got on board. I was curious, obviously, for the and those who were watching, how did you hear about this project?
Yeah, so I was just browsing on Facebook and I just happened upon the post that Mike put up, who's the illustrator on the Red Bull, um, looking for an animator to like bring to life your idea, George. Um, and Mike had already done some great illustrations and he'd already worked out a bit of the storyboard, so it kind of hooked me into it a little bit. So that's kind of where I first saw about this project.
Yeah, I remember that day very vividly because Mike shared your website, your previous work, and it was an easy yes because obviously the work blew us away, and we just found, for me anyway, kind of it being, I say it's our story, of course, but kind of the genesis of trying to tell a really personal story. I just felt like your work, the essence that I found when, looking at your work, just really connected with what we
Mm.
were trying to do. So it was a really easy yes, an exciting yes as well. But for those watching and who are unsure, what is an animation director? And I know it can change maybe from project to project to a certain degree. But what is an animation director? Because that's the role you took on this project.
My role as animation director included quite a few things just to so we could just like push forward. Um, so first of all, I was working with you, George,
Mm,
to help you develop the story from the one-page outline and also Mike's example storyboard, which was
mm,
great, and your idea, which was great as well, personal and intriguing. Um, and so we could just like make a script, and so we went back and forth and got it to a stage where um it was really like looking like we can make a storyboard out of
mm,
this.
mm,
And so what I would do next is make a storyboard, and then I just really roughly sketched out these drawings and put them all on a timeline, and this really kind of was like the blueprint for the film,
mm,
and it
mm,
helped us to just know exactly how long it was going to be, what
mm,
all the beats were, and all of like just what the characters were doing, and just like see the actual story on
mm.
the timeline. So that's part of being a director of
Mm.
animation, is
That
you
was
kind of
vital. That
yeah, it
that was
was
vital.
really
And sorry to interrupt as well,
yeah.
because even the process of, especially kind of you coming on board and and having a this sort of kind of bouncing ball, this partner in terms of really refining the story, was vital to kind of, I'd say, my vision in terms of what the story could be, because obviously, like I said, it's my first animation, and I really loved the not only just kind of the collaboration in terms of how can we create this story within the limitations of the budget, because that's it's a practical thing which you always have to work with. But yeah, how can that translate into an animation, specifically, those storyboards and what are those key actions within the scene? So yeah, that was and something I'm kind of taken into my practice a lot more, actually, that
Oh,
prep. And
great.
yeah, so I just wanted to jump in and
Mm.
say that.
Oh, brilliant. I'm glad. Like, I feel like it was a big steep learning curve for all of us, and it always is with every project. It's all different and new, and
Mm,
it's exciting.
mm,
um so yeah, like the animatic, that was all great. And we were always talking about it and tweaking it as we went along, which is what is supposed to happen with the animatic, because it's
mm,
rough.
mm,
And then so working with Mike as well, it was great because had to figure out a way of getting his wonderful illustrations to be able to animate them. So it's like breaking down each section of the character,
mm,
seeing how we could rig it. And Mike, actually, I got him more involved in the background design as well, because he was doing some lovely backgrounds already, and we just wanted his style to carry over throughout the whole film.
mm, mm.
um, and so um, he ended up doing a lot of work like that he didn't think he was going to do with the backgrounds. But sorry, Mike, but
It's a lot. It's a lot.
we
Yeah.
needed you to see this like many hats kind of thing.
Mm, mm,
Um, so yeah, once the animation style was all established, we obviously ran that past you, George, and we were back and forth about especially hair textures
mm,
and what the characters look like, and skin tones,
mm,
and all the important stuff to
mm,
really like make it what you wanted it to be in your vision. We were like, right, we have to get straight into production and
mm,
just churn this out, because the time was like it always encroaches quicker than you think.
mm,
um, and so what then I did was I was delegating work to two fellow animators that came on board from I went to film school with, Lillian and Anna. Big shout out to them,
mm,
because they really helped so much to like help me with this mass of work that was just looming before me.
mm,
Um, and so they helped me reach the deadline. And especially Lillian, she pushed us past the deadline, which
so helpful.
um,
Yeah.
was really
Mm,
really helpful. I'll say about that later. But and also big shout out to Leander, my partner, who came in really near the end, just kind of like pipeline manager kind of style.
mm,
He helped with the spreadsheets, and he made sure all the After Effects files were set up and things were ready to go. And then he even like came up with the Red Bull title. That wasn't
mm,
me. That was he was all of us spitballing, and then his one was
mm,
like, okay, that looks quite good,
mm.
and we obviously sent it to you to approve. So yeah, he was pretty cool. And so yeah, that's kind of a lot of stuff was going on with animation director. And so you kind of have to talk to everyone, and you have to know your stuff with the animation, of course, because I was
Mm.
animating too. And then delegate the work. And yeah, it was a lot, but it was very exciting. So
Yeah.
that's in a nutshell, in a
Yeah.
big nutshell, that's kind
Yeah.
of what it was.
I'm curious about the role of delegating,
Mm,
delegating roles out, and the importance of knowing when to, and specifically what. What did you learn, if you learned anything about delegation on this process? Because like we have already said, um, you know, everyone's wearing a hat in which they're doing a little bit of everything. But, can you talk a little bit about delegation and the
mm.
importance of it?
Yeah, so it was important because I could not finish that film by myself, and I needed to kind of get everyone on board with like the vision, and also with like just set them up with shots to animate,
Mm,
or shots to do the backgrounds with in Mike's case.
mm,
And so what I was doing was referring to the spreadsheet,
mm,
which I created with Adam, the producer, and just he created one, and then I made another one on top of that, just to more easily make an animation pipeline. And that was like our go-to for everyone, and
mm,
everyone had a link to it. And so I could be like, okay, you've got this certain amount of shots to do.
mm,
Do you think you can do it? And then if someone couldn't do it, I'd take it to someone else.
mm,
Or I would do it, or we'd just all keep swapping around. I mean,
yeah.
Lillian did quite a bit. She animates like fire, so
Mm, mm,
she got quite a few of the animation shots with multiple characters as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I would just be always referring back to the sheet and being like, well, what needs to get done and
Mm.
who can do it.
Mm.
And that was the delegation process for
Yeah.
me.
I was curious, and obviously, I think often when you have chats with collaborators, or maybe you're having a chat about the process, the positives are usually kind of shining extremely bright, and there were many positives on this
Mm,
project. But what did you find the most challenging?
mm,
And be as honest as you can.
mm.
I won't cry. Try not to.
No, oh, I try not to make you cry. So the most challenging thing was the deadline for
Mm,
delivery of this film was what was it? It was exactly or very near to the due date for the delivery of my baby,
mm.
my first baby.
Yeah.
So that was challenging because
Mm,
it was a lot of pressure and it was getting close.
mm,
And I was very uncomfortable. I'm like 9 months pregnant at the end. And so I had to make that decision at the end to kind of hand over the reins a bit to my good friend Lillian, who got us across the line basically. And yeah, and we're all fine now.
mm, mm.
My baby Waira is 1.5, and he's healthy and happy and screaming and a toddler. So yeah, the hardest bit for me was just like making that decision to let go of the reins and
Right.
just go, hey, I need help and
Mm,
I can't
mm.
do this anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
everything else was challenging, but like amazing
Yeah.
and worth it, and I learned so much.
No,
So yeah.
yeah. Well, me too. And we can't thank you enough. And I'm really excited for everyone to see our work and how
Mm.
hard all of us have worked on it. And to kind of close on this conversation, what advice would you give aspiring animation directors or aspiring, artists who want to be where you are, or who want to create work similar to the work we've created? What would you
Mm.
say?
Yeah, so yeah, what we created was amazing, and like well done to you and to all the team. And I would say, like, my personal experience, I went to film school. I went to NFTS and I did MA in animation direction. And like, but you don't have to do that. Like, no one has to go to film school to make films. You can just do it. It just kind of made it easier for me because it helped me meet all these cool people, and it helped me make animations. And with they have the budget there to do it, and I could just do what I wanted really. So that was useful. That was really useful to go to film school for that.
Mm,
But no matter if you do or don't go, I would just say just keep making stuff and keep making the things that you really want to do, and
mm.
don't be afraid to get it wrong, and kind of like fail upwards, as they say.
Mm,
Like just
mm.
keep going and surround yourself with people who are better than you at what you do. That is
That's what I did, and that's why it's turned out so well. Uh,
or like anytime you can do that, that is a great way
mm,
to get stuff done. And collaborating can lead
mm,
to all kinds of adventures, so don't dismiss anything.
mm.
Just see where it takes you, and just be brave and just keep telling the stories that you want to tell. So that's what I'd say.
Great. Thanks so much, Claire.
Yeah,
Really
no worries.
appreciate your time, and yeah, I'm sure whoever's watching this has got a lot of value from it. And obviously, please do go watch the Red Bull. It should be on YouTube when this is released. So yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, George.